Special episode, Keith.
It sure is.
Are you rolling?
I am rolling.
You in focus?
I told you never to look at that camera.
It can't see my eyes.
Because
it knows what sunglasses are?
It knows. God damn it. I don't like being out of focus.
God damn, that camera loves me. All right, what are we talking about today, Keith? Let me tell you what we're talking about. We're talking about bucked up.
What?
Bucked up energy. We're here in this hotel in San Francisco, and this is the energy drinks they supplied for us in the lobby.
Yes.
Only $47 each. Bucked up energy.
Yeah, it's on my credit card.
Yeah, I know. That's what we bought.
I don't like it.
Wild Orchard.
It's for me.
I have Blood Raz. This is a little True Blood. You used to watch True Blood?
No.
Yeah.
Not a vampire guy.
Lots of
Not a vampire guy.
lots of weird sex in that show.
All anyone's thinking about here is sex, sex, sex.
One needn't be telepathic to pick up on that.
That's the only shows you watch. It's weird sex shows.
All right, Keith. So best and worst. We're getting right into it.
Getting
We're
right
not wasting
into
any
it.
time tonight,
Oh boy.
kids.
Oh boy.
We got 10 more episodes to record. You want to start, or you want me to go first?
Are we doing best or worst?
We're gonna start with worst.
Okay. Worst movies.
3 worst films.
Our 3 worst movies.
from 3 to 1.
From 3 to 1.
Yeah.
And these are just the movies that we saw.
Yes. So
We
we
haven't
want to
seen
be clear.
every movie.
These are very subjective lists because
Yes.
even though, and that's the other thing, it's not only have we not seen every movie, because you guys aren't paying us for this, we're going to keep saying that. My 3 favorite films this year are not the films I necessarily think are the 3 best films this year.
Yeah.
I mean,
These
they are, because I only like good ones. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just giving a little context for the people at home.
Yeah.
This is, I guess, more of our best favorites.
It's our preferences,
Our preferences,
but they're correct. Unless Keith disagrees with me.
which I always do.
Worst movies of the year, Keith.
Worst movies of the year.
Give me your number 3.
Okay. I do have, before I give you my number 3,
Yeah.
your bated breath. I can hear you at home, bated breath.
Before I give you my number 3, let me start from 20.
Well, I do have more worst than best.
Okay.
But for the worst ones, I have some other ones that are in the conversation. Should we get to those at the end?
No, start there. What ones were in the running for your
Were the
top
running
3?
for me that did not make it.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to read through them quickly, just because we don't have time to dig into each
There
one.
better not be anything good there.
In no particular order, I must say, but The Man from Toronto, starring Kevin Hart and Woody Harrelson.
That does not shock me. I have that on my list under movies I haven't seen that I assume are awful.
That movie
I assume that would be on my top 3.
was fucking brutal.
Really any Kevin Hart Netflix movie, I assume.
Yeah,
is
the
gonna be
Me Time also could have been there, but I didn't even
100%.
watch it.
I saw that
so-
trailer and I turned off the trailer. That's tough.
So
Please,
So
get
yeah,
off my TV.
A Ben Affleck film called Deep Water was early on in the year.
You watched that?
I truly hated that film.
Wow, I didn't even see that.
You didn't see it, or didn't
No.
know that I saw it?
I'm not allowed to watch films with Ana de Armas.
That's a personal thing that is affecting your work life now, and I feel like that's a whole nother conversation.
Now I want to watch it if you think it's terrible.
Did not like it. I did not like it. It gets silly at the end, as I feel like so many big budget movies get silly at the end. It got silly at the end. I watched it like January, so I'm a little hazy on the.
Yeah.
But I remember watching it and being like, "Oh, this has got to be up there."
Yeah.
And I
Nice.
have that mental note.
Nice.
It is stupid.
That's too
I
bad.
think it gets stupid.
Too bad.
The Menu we had talked about at our
we did.
dinner in the running for me, and not because I think it's a bad movie. Again, going back to our preferences, is I don't think it's like a bad movie or like the absolute worst movie. Just based on what I thought the potential of the film could be and how far it fell short from that potential, to me made it bad, if that makes sense.
Sure.
It could have been
It wasn't
really
great.
good.
It wasn't great. I thought it was okay. It wasn't great.
I thought it could have been really good.
They could, yeah, should have been.
And last but not least, a very unpopular opinion, Glass Onion, I thought was fucking brutal.
It's on my list for in the running for the
It was
worst.
in the running, but I would
We're
put
not
it,
fans.
Yeah, not fans. Go check out the episode. I did not like it, but I would put that at the top of the worst list.
That's number 4.
It would be
Oh, that's the best
It
of
would
the
be the
worst.
best of the worst of all I said.
You piece of shit.
The other ones are brutal. So to give you a little taste where my head's at.
Great, there you go.
Do you want to start with yours then, since I've run a couple?
What's your number 3?
All right, my number 3, coming in at number 3, it is a holiday film, which I don't like to do.
Don't want to offend Christmas.
No, because I like holiday films. I like Christmas movies, generally. But Spirited, to me, was very bad.
Okay.
And do you want me to tell you why? People love this film.
Do they?
It was the most streamed Apple film ever.
Well, yeah, you can't trust that.
So it's.
But does that mean people love it? Honestly, that's a real question.
I don't know. I take that as a sign of
everybody's gonna
love.
watch it. The stars. You're gonna put it on.
Of course.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's it competing with on Apple? Anyways.
Yeah, fair. Fair.
Okay. Why is it awful?
Best Picture.
Coda.
Best
Coda's
Picture.
much worse than Spirited.
Wow.
I'll take that.
Best film of last year.
I was
according to
so
the
mad.
Oscars.
I'm still mad.
I know
We'll talk about it
know.
on our next episode.
Next episode.
Yeah.
That movie was so shitty. Again, one, because I think it could have been good. Like, it could have been good. I like Ryan Reynolds. I like Will Ferrell. We've talked about this before. But Will Ferrell continues to miss for me. And my biggest, we don't need to get into a deep dive of the film. But I'll tell you the number one reason why I did not like it. The number one reason why I did not like it, it took itself too seriously. And I think most people are gonna say, Keith, it's a funny movie, there's a lot of wink and nods at the camera. Ryan Reynolds breaks the fourth wall again.
No,
Classic,
not Ryan Reynolds.
Classic Ryan Reynolds. Like, it's so self-aware, Keith. What are you talking about? What I'm talking about is you have two of your main characters in a serious musical. This is a legitimate musical. Have you seen the movie?
I watched half of it.
Half of it?
Yeah.
So they take this, they take the singing, the dancing.
Yeah, totally.
Very seriously.
Yeah.
And your leads cannot sing, dance, or act for the most part. Like, Ryan Reynolds, I think, can act. I do think he can. But Will Ferrell cannot. Like, he cannot. He cannot sing, he cannot dance, he cannot act. These are not his strengths. This is not what he does well. And when he sings that song, I want to say it's redeemable.
Is it possible I'm mad for
Like, it is a power ballad. It's emotional. It's like Les Miserables, like Oscar, perform it at the Oscars kind of song that you sing with, like, your soul. And I got Will Ferrell doing, and I can't.
Is it supposed to be funny?
No, that's the point I'm making. That's why I dislike this movie so much. It's the number one reason why I dislike the movie. I was very frustrated with that, and then the story is it's incredibly convenient. Incredibly convenient. Things just happen. Oh, you can talk. She can see you now because Octavia Spencer can see Will Ferrell now because he just chooses. Why? Why? There's no logic. There's no, like, again, we don't need to dive too deep, but the no consistency within the story. It's very convenient, and the tone and miscast nature of it was to me awful.
I enjoyed it.
Did you really?
No. I mean, like, we didn't finish it, but it wasn't because we were like,
bad.
this is bad. It was like, oh, it's bedtime, But like, and we weren't inspired enough to continue it, so that should probably say something.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 3, I'm surprised
You're
by
first.
it.
Let's. Thank you. I'm keeping you on your toes.
Yeah. Okay, so this is tough for me. The worst is tough for me, as we've discussed, because I don't watch a lot of bad movies. Like, I avoid bad films. Like, if I know I'm not gonna like a movie, I don't watch it. Like, I didn't watch Black Adam because I know I'm not gonna like Black Adam. So Black Adam might very well be one of my worst 3 films of the year. Probably would be. But like, I'll never know because I have self-respect. Like, I don't do that. And then I turn off a lot of films. I have gotten a much quicker trigger as I get older, where I get 15, 20 minutes in, and I'm like, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I know it can't come back because this is the tone.
So how do you rank those? I mean, because I've done that too.
I'm not including those for the most part.
Okay.
So just really quickly, you talked about your close calls.
Honorable mentions, yeah.
Yes. So I'll say movies I turned off this year. Death on the Nile. Morbius. Morbius, my hottest take of the year, was like not the worst movie I saw.
It's not the worst. I was gonna say.
Honestly, like, everyone's like, Morbius is the fucking. It's like, it's just comic book shittiness. Like, it's not unusually bad.
Correct.
I watched an hour of that movie on a plane. And
I watched it on a plane, too.
Yeah, I was like, going in, I was like, this is gonna be so bad. Why am I doing this? And I watched it. I was just like, it's holding me enough. Like, it's not good, but like, it's not like worse than it's not so much worse than Shang-Chi,
Yeah.
which no one wants to hear, but I'm just saying.
I agree. I feel the same exact way.
Thor: Love and Thunder turned off. I'm
Yep.
glad I did because I've watched more about it later. Ambulance. I turned off Ambulance. And Monique
You're
and
a big Gyllenhaal guy, huh?
I am
I know.
actually a big Gyllenhaal guy. I think he's amazing. And that movie, it's not like that movie was so bad. It was just like, that's never bad. Like we watched like an hour plus of that movie.
Yeah.
Turned off Clerks 3 after about 10 minutes.
I made it longer than.
I think if I watched that entire movie, that might be the worst movie of the year because that was a bad time.
Not to go into too much of it, we should do a Kevin Smith.
Just a Kevin
We
Smith.
should do Kevin Smith movie.
I'd love to.
I love Kevin Smith. New Jersey originally.
We all love Kevin Smith because we're filmmakers who were raised throughout the 90s.
There is so much to talk about.
Clerks 3 was really bad.
Clerks 3 was bad. The Silent J reboot.
Well, I didn't watch that because I knew it would just punch me in the stomach.
It was tough, but the thing about Kevin Smith, and we could just move on after this, but the thing about Kevin Smith is I've said a couple times, like, whose career would you want? Kevin Smith is someone who's a career that I would be like grateful to have. And the reason why
Career you would want versus career you'd be grateful to have are two very different things.
fine, I want. I would even say want, because he makes films for himself.
Sure.
And this is a film. This is a
It's for an
film.
audience of 5.
Exactly, and good for him for doing it.
Sure.
They've sort of aged out. Maybe aged out's not the right word, but they've drifted away from me and my tastes and where I thought he was brilliant for a long time.
Still, but that's also.
But
just
he's
our
making
age.
movies for
It was
himself.
our age at the time.
Okay.
It's like yes.
So that's good for him,
Mallrats is
though.
hilarious when you're 16 and you want to be a movie maker, but it's probably not a great movie now.
Well, did he come or what? Jesus Christ, man, there's just some things you don't talk about in public.
We also turned off The Wonder, which was a Florence Pugh drama on Netflix, and it's not because that was bad. It was just really boring. We weren't in the mood for it. So, anyways, worst movies of the year. The really close calls that didn't make it. Real fast. The Atom Project.
Oh yeah. I remember
That movie
the Atom
was mostly
Project.
halfway enjoyable until the final act.
gets goofy.
It really gets gnarly, but terrible. Glass Onion, also on my close calls.
Good, nice.
Also on my close calls. And then our much debated The Gray Man.
You son of a bitch.
The Gray Man is almost on this.
It shouldn't be on
It's
the
almost-
list.
it
It
should.
should not
It's
even
really
be on your
terrible.
almost list.
But I didn't want to put 2 Ana de Armas films on my worst 3 because my number 3
Ooh, segue.
is the film Blonde.
Wow. I have not seen it, but I chose not to. But tell me why.
So in brief, and this is it pains me to put this one on here, and I went back and forth for a long time because I really I think the cinematography of Blonde is like beautiful. Marilyn Monroe biopic on Netflix. Biopic. There's really interesting filmmaking happening. Like it's very unique, and it's really like often beautiful to look at. And there's several shots in that movie that I think are like those amongst the best shots of the year. Would not have been shocked had it been nominated for best cinematography, which it was not.
It got shut out. Like that's
Except for her, she's best actress nominee.
She from that film.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is comical. Which we will. Sorry, that's offensive. It's comical. We'll cover it. We'll cover it. It's a weird choice, in my opinion. But anyways, Blonde. In short, it is so like disturbing and really unfun to watch. And
As all great movies.
excuse my graphic practicality here, but like as I think I told you on the phone, like there's at least 3 or 4 scenes of her losing a baby in a different way, including 2 abortion scenes that are shot from the inside of her body looking out.
Yeah.
From that perspective. And it is so unnecessary. It is so, it's like, it's very like torture porny of Marilyn Monroe. And it's really tough. And she's just miserable and sad and crazy the whole time. And and on top of all of that, so all of that would be its own bad enough. But like, it's also like, there's no real point to it. Like I didn't see the point to the story. And it's like 3 hours and 10 minutes long.
Yeah,
It's a really
super
long
long.
movie. And I just sat and after like the second abortion scene or the third miscarriage scene where there's blood all over and so I was just like, okay, I'm kind of watching out of one eye for the rest of it. And there, at no point was I like, oh, they wrap this up in a way that makes sense. It's just like, let's put Ana de Armas as Marilyn Monroe in these really terrible situations where she's miserable for 3 hours.
Marilyn Monroe only exists on the screen.
Number 2, Keith, what do you got?
My number 2. It's funny that you say People with Integrity, the film you just ripped apart. It's Black Adam. is the second worst movie.
Yes.
And the reason this movie is so brutal. I mean, and everyone hates it. I feel like I'm piling on, but it is, I think, very true. This movie is if like a 13-year-old boy wanted to be an action star and like look cool, every creative decision is made through that lens, aka The Rock. It's like 90% of the movie is The Rock doing this dramatic lookups.
That's his move.
And he is invincible. Like, talk about a character with
best
no
kinds of
flaws.
heroes, yeah.
Like, no flaws. Like, he is invincible in every way. And that's so unfun to in your superhero movies, to be like, oh, he can do it. Like, just fix
whatever
it.
he wants, he's gonna
whatever
do
he
it.
wants to do, he could do. Just go fix it.
Yeah.
And then he also has the demeanor of the Terminator, which is just so mismatched, but he's just clearly like cherry picking how to look the coolest or be the coolest, because he kind of talks like the Terminator, like sort of short, succinct sentences.
I kneel before no one.
I do this.
Yeah.
Well, I'm strong, be strong. Yeah. That kind of like, and on top of that, it's got the Marvel humor to it. That's just not funny. No, there's the most unfunny comedic beats you could possibly find. So like all of it just equals this pile of mud and awfulness. That is, it really is shitty.
Yeah. It's tough. Black Adam.
Black Adam. If you're a Rock fan, you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Like we should all be over it. And I don't mean to, like, I don't want to end his career personally.
But Keith has the power.
I just feel like he should like go away for a little bit.
Just try something else, man.
Yeah,
just try something else.
Yeah.
Just be. What movie did he do when he started? He did like the sequel to Get Shorty. What was that movie?
No, I don't know.
He did a sequel to Get Shorty.
Still Shorty?
Yeah. No, but it was like he played like a giant, obviously buff bodyguard who was also gay. I want to say I never watched it.
Bring it. Oh, bring it. Don't worry. I never do.
But he was getting all this praise because it was like, oh, what an out of character for him.
Yeah.
And he it was very funny, and he has his lane that he's talented in, but he's like, as we talked about before, I think in Red Notice, where it's just like he just keeps trying to be the coolest guy in the room.
Yes.
And just once in a while, just mix it up. Or be the coolest guy in the room, but do a fucking R-rated film that's for adults. Like, do one of those two things. He keeps doing this like middle of the lane thing, and I guess superhero is like kind of a new thing for him, but the trailers are enough.
He is the same character in every film.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, my number 2. This can be a very short entry, because I don't remember this movie. Because this one, I'm kind of cheating against my own rules, because we did turn this one off. But we turned this one off like 20 minutes from the end. Like, we watched an hour and a half of it. Yeah. The Bubble.
Oh, I started watching. It's a Judd Apatow film.
Judd Apatow.
And I didn't hate the beginning of it, and then I had to turn it off. I went to sleep or something came up, and I turned it off, and I never went back to it. Not because I didn't want to. It just didn't happen, and I kind of forgot about it until literally right now. Do tell, explain.
I'm gonna do my best to remember. But The Bubble is like one that I was going through the whole list of films from 2022. I was like, the fuck is The Bubble? Oh my God, it's that movie. Like, really didn't like it, and it hurts because I think it had a great trailer. So The Bubble had this great trailer, and I remember like putting it on and showing my wife and being like, look at this cast. Has a great cast.
Does have a good cast.
Bunch of talented comedic people. Judd Apatow, obviously, like very like COVID quarantine-y centric. I love like show business humor.
I know you're not a fucking magician. If you were a fucking magician, you'd pull a movie out of your ass. Oh my God, it's Minnie Driver. Oh, I love her.
Kind of inside, behind the scenes of a production. Like all that stuff I love. And this movie was just like crickets for us. Like watching this movie, no
jokes
laughter.
land?
Yeah. Where you're just like, this setup is funny. They managed to take the only funny parts and put them in the trailer to make you think it's good. And it just was like, I honestly was just like, I don't even remember. I feel like it was so, like, just like obvious. Like all the jokes were so obvious and so like low-hanging fruit, like layups. Where someone like Judd Apatow, who's clearly like a genius in so many ways, like this is you're better than this. Like you're taking the easiest joke that literally Joe Blow off the street would be like, what if he said this? Like, you know, like that'd be funny. Yeah. And it's like, predictable. Like all the jokes, very predictable, very like. And what's happening, it's not quite that real world comedy. You know, it's like a little bit like, oh, I don't know if someone would actually say that, but whatever. It's a It was just like to watch a movie for an hour and 20 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever we did and be like, we just keep waiting for it to get better. So many talented people. It'll get better. It doesn't get better. Yeah. It's boring and lame.
For you to turn it off at that stage, that late in the game, that's got to say something to you not liking it. So.
Like, let's play video games.
Let's just do literally anything else.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm sorry to say it. But I'm feeling pretty bucked up.
Are you bucked up yet?
Number one,
we are
worst
here.
Movie of the year.
The worst movie of the year. I called you after I watched it, and I told you I watched the worst movie of the year. It was in March of the year. Do you remember what that movie was?
I don't remember most of our calls or conversations.
I know, and I don't appreciate
March.
It was in March.
Give me a hint.
Stars were in this movie. 2, 3 big A-list stars are in this romantic comedy, perhaps?
Romantic comedy?
Romantic action comedy.
Romantic action comedy.
You don't remember the phone call?
No.
I remember every phone call we've ever had.
Give me 1 star.
I'll give you the 3rd star.
Okay.
Brad Pitt.
Oh, yes. Channing Tatum, Sandra Bullock.
Correct.
Trip to Paradise.
The Lost City.
The Lost City, yes.
The Lost City, I watched that movie, and as it was just continued to go, I just said, this is the worst thing I will see all year. And I was right. That movie is so brutally bad. I don't have anything funny to say about it. I wish I could make jokes about it. It's just atrocious.
That's sad.
It's like an algorithm wrote a movie poorly.
So it's like most movies.
It's just so it's just fucking brutal. It's a brutal mainstream movie. Like the worst parts of mainstream movies.
That makes me so sad.
Bad.
Because that's the kind of movie that I would like to be like, okay.
I agree.
Like I know I'm not gonna go see that movie, but it's got 3 big stars.
Yeah.
The trailer was like kind of funny, and you'd be like, oh yeah, this is that kind of movie. It's kind of stupid, but like it's funny. Like that, like a big action romantic like.
I like.
You want those
Tatum.
movies to succeed.
I like Sandra Bullock. Daniel Radcliffe's in it.
Oh yeah.
You know, like I liked enough to get me to go see the movie. I had some time to kill.
You went to the theater?
I went to the theaters to see it because I was traveling. I had some time to kill. I went to the movies and that was what was playing. I was like, fine, fuck it, I'll see it. And it's awful.
All right. You ready for my number 1?
I can't wait. Is it my favorite
Do you
movie?
have any guesses?
Can you give me a hint? Can you give me anything about it?
No.
No, I mean, there's so many movies. The Gray Man,
No, I already said The Gray Man. There's a lot of bad movies. And again, I turned off some that I'm sure would be, I'm sure would supplant some of these. But the worst film I saw in 2022, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Men.
I thought about, it was that or Black Adam. My number 2 was gonna be one of those 2. And I went with Black Adam because it is worse. But Doctor Strange sucks too, so.
Doctor Strange was such a clusterfuck of a film that like I can't remember getting to an end of a big movie like that and just honestly, like I'm not exaggerating, just honestly just being like,
what the fuck?
Like laughing.
Yeah.
Laughing at moments that aren't funny. And I hate to be that person in the theater, but like I honestly Like, cannot imagine a big film, tentpole IP franchise film, where I was just like, the fuck is this? Yeah. Like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
This is a child's cartoon that someone wrote on acid, but they were also drunk, so it took away all the good stuff from the acid high. Like, it's so bad. Yeah. And watch our episode on it. I don't have to dwell. Yeah. Like, it is a bad movie. And I'll die on that hill for people that want to say that it's like good or, oh, there's a lot of redeeming quality. It's fucking horrible. Yeah. It is a horrible, tonally inconsistent, awful mess. No stakes, nothing good. What a waste. Worst movie of the year.
Yeah. What did you? Is there any one part that sticks out to you? Is like, what's the worst part to you?
I think honestly, there's not, because I almost from minute one, like. The fact that, like, as we talked about, that the whole bait and switch of the introduction of the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, like that part, that whole scene felt cheap and stupid and lame, and then I also think the whole climactic confrontation where those ghosts come out of the book and attack Rachel McAdams, who knows how to use a bazooka vase thing, like all of it was just like, what is happening? If you don't explain to me the possibilities, then they don't mean anything when it happens, because it's just like, oh, so this is a thing. Like, I can't feel emotion if I'm confused. Yeah. If I'm like, what the fuck? What is this? I can't be like, oh my god, I hope she's okay.
I hope she's okay.
Because it's not a thing. That's not how storytelling works.
The mustard spell is the correct answer. The worst part of that is the mustard in the face.
Oh, sure.
Where, like,
but we're not.
That is the worst.
The music fight. I mean, that's.
I mean, the music fight is
also really
it's
bad.
1-1A.
There's so many bad.
The music
parts.
fight is pure ludicrous because it makes no sense. It is just in the film. It is just in the film to act as something.
This will look cool.
Cool to be cool.
And a movie that has so much potential. Like, you're opening up the multiverse for the first time. Really, the Loki show did it a little bit. Like, it did it a lot, but like
this was it.
Like, honestly, like I thought this was gonna be like. Just wait till you see what they do.
Yeah.
Wait till you see the shit they pull in.
Yeah.
And it's just so isolated and stupid. It's stupid.
There's a lot of bad things.
Best films of the year, Keith.
Are we here?
Should I go so you can have the final?
I mean, obviously, because I am.
We swap it. You're the king of best films.
I'm the king of best films.
Keith's only watched one good movie this year.
Film. I'm just gonna name it 3 times.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so my number 3, best film of the year, and these again.
Do you think we're gonna have any overlap?
No.
Before you even say it?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I'll guarantee we don't.
Then never. Okay, great.
I'll guarantee it. I feel like I probably haven't seen your 3 movies that you think are the best.
You've seen Tom and Jerry, haven't you?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm skipping the mid list. So the ones that were in the running, I'll tell you that. The ones that were in the running that didn't make it. I felt from the moment I saw my number 1, I was like, that'll be number 1, and it is number 1. Again, these are our favorites, not necessarily the best.
The best.
And then from the moment I saw my number 2, I thought, oh, that's gonna be number 2, and it was. My number 3 has shifted. For a while, it was Top Gun Maverick, which I think is an amazing film for 1,000 different reasons. And we'll talk about it in our Oscars episode coming up. For half a second, it was White Noise, which is the very weird Adam Driver film that's on Netflix, which we almost turned off because it was so strange after 15 minutes in. And you watch the rest of it, and you're like, oh, I kind of get it. This is weird, and it lingers, which I like. I like those movies that linger.
It's interesting.
It's interesting. For a long while, it was See How They Run, which was a very like jovial whodunit, which is a very like the antithesis to Glass Onion. Like the same year, this movie came out. See How They Run should have been nominated for a lot more. Like, it's literally not nominated for anything. I think that's goofy. It's a really great film. And then the other one that was on the it was never really consideration, but I really enjoyed The Pale Blue Eye, which was a movie on Netflix with Christian Bale. Also a whodunit. Not funny. Not a funny whodunit. So, my number 3 best film, which I'm going to settle on, I just watched like 4 days ago for the first time.
Whoa.
So it's a new thing, and I wasn't sure if I was going to do it. This was going to be See How They Run. But I just watched Babylon, and I'm going to put that as my number 3 favorite film of the year. Which, if you've seen Babylon and you know me at all, might not be a terrible surprise.
I'm shocked.
Because it's very much Hollywood masturbating on itself.
And if there's one thing you love, it's masturbating on yourself.
Quite literally, for all the best and worst that might mean. It's not a perfect film, so I wouldn't argue I would argue it deserves to be nominated for Best Picture. Yeah. It's better than a couple of those that I've seen that are nominated for Best Picture.
Okay.
But it's not perfect. And as I was telling you off camera, like there's long extended sequences of Babylon that are the best sequences of the year. One scene in particular has to do with an entire day of a shoot on a set. And it's just the day, it shows you the time, like 9:40, 10:30, 10 popping up. And it's just like brilliantly edited, brilliantly shot, brilliantly acted, this huge setscape. And the scene might last for half an hour. And that half an hour, you're like, that's the best half an hour of film this year. It's so amazing. And Damien Chazelle, the director, is obviously a very talented guy. So there's stretches of that film that are phenomenal, the best of the year, very Tarantino-esque, very Paul Thomas Anderson-esque. And then there are some scenes that are kind of silly and you're like, oh, this is a little miss. And then there's 2 or 3 really disgusting parts, like literally disgusting. If you want to see a woman urinating on a man into his mouth quite graphically, which most of us do not.
And I was going to say, have you read my dream journal?
Yeah, yes. No, I know. I said most of us.
Okay.
You're here.
Great. Okay.
Yeah. We're allotting for both of us.
Yeah, okay, great.
So I understand why it might not be as received as well by the general audience. It's just over the top. It's just like, there's a lot of parallels to Boogie Nights. To me, in a lot of ways, there's a lot of overt homage to Boogie Nights, like the energy of it and the movement of the camera and juggling multiple characters, like the side characters. The fifth lead has like a whole like lots of, it's just an epic. It's an old Hollywood epic. And I would say for all of its imperfections, it is an incredibly unique watch that is very like high energy. Like that movie made me feel differently than any other movie this year, where you're just like, even the repulsive parts, you're like, fuck man, this is some like movie making. Like they are hitting you with some movie. Like it's a lot of movie. It's a lot of movie.
It's a lot of movie.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle it.
Yeah, no, you would struggle.
I struggle most often.
I want you to watch it because I'd be dying to hear what you think.
There's so many movies I want to watch. I don't get a chance to watch all the movies or as many movies as I'd like to watch. I have a child now. It's difficult.
Oh yeah, does the baby sleep a lot?
My baby does not sleep. She does not sleep. She's 9 months old and she hates me. And she does not sleep on purpose.
But she loves Black Adam.
Huge Black Adam fan. She goes right out.
I kneel before no one.
What's your third best
I'll give you
of the year?
my third favorite movie. This is, I think, more people are going to identify with movies because I think people like my movies. Fucking Babylon.
No, Babylon's not for everybody. It's for any. Yeah.
My third favorite movie.
It's for me and Monique.
Exactly. You losers.
Pretentious Hollywood scum.
Exactly.
But who aren't all the way in Hollywood. We're just like
yes. You dream of being Hollywood.
We're almost there.
scum.
We're in the industry.
My third favorite film, or third favorite film. I won't say best, but third favorite film is The Batman. I really, really enjoyed The Batman because not only because I just liked the film, it showed what superhero movies, comic book movies could be if you take a different approach. It was the anti-Marvel movie, and I loved it because it was well done. Not a perfect film by any means, not the best film of the year or the third best film of the year, but I really, really enjoyed it. I had a great time at the theater, watching it, experiencing it. It was fun to talk about. It was just interesting. It was an interesting take. I think really good performances. I thought Paul Dano was great. I thought, what's the fuck is, I'm blanking on his name, Robert Pattinson, R-Pat, I couldn't think of his name. R-Pat. I was trying to think of his Twilight name. I couldn't think of it.
Team Edward.
I'm Team Edward. I thought Edward was great.
Team Jacob.
Colin Farrell was awesome and so much fun to watch.
As always.
It was just a great time, an interesting tone. Like I just loved it. I just had a great time with it.
Yeah.
So
it's very good.
Yeah.
It's very good. Crime, it wasn't nominated for Best Cinematography. I thought it was really beautiful.
Yeah.
That's the best part of the movie, amongst a lot of really good parts. Yeah, that's not a bad choice. It's on like the highest level of my mid movies. It's like the best of those.
Great.
It could be in my top 10. It could be in my top 10 for the year.
I'll take it.
It's been a slow year. What's my number? What's my number two?
I don't know.
My number two best.
Number two best.
Another one you haven't seen.
You don't know that.
I know it. Triangle of Sadness.
I haven't seen it.
Triangle of Sadness is right up my alley, which you'd hate it.
Yeah.
It's dark, very dark comedy, satirical in a lot of ways. I mean, it is satirical. It's a dark comedy in a lot of ways, satirical across the board. Just beautifully funny, beautifully interesting, very well written, and has been rewarded quite well by the Academy with its nominations.
Best Picture, right?
Yeah. Best Picture nominee, Best Director nominee, which I was really surprised. Ruben Ostlund, maybe, his first English language film. And I just really enjoyed it. It's a long movie. It's like broken in 3 distinct acts that overlap in the sense of the same characters, and they have to do with each other. But they're sort of their own little short film vignettes. And I've seen it sort of criticized as being a little too heavy-handed, which like there are moments that are, but the sequence that stood out to me the most is, and this isn't spoiling anything because it's in the trailers, but there's a scene where the boat is having trouble. These rich people are on a ship, this high-end cruise, and the boat is rocking back and forth, and everyone's eating bad seafood. So all the guests, these like rich 1%ers, are all getting very sick. And as they are spewing from all orifices, quite graphically, and like rolling across their bathroom floors covered in every sort of fecal matter and vomit and everything you could imagine, Woody Harrelson, who should have gotten a Best Supporting Actor nomination for this role, is the ship's captain. And he is like a American socialist, and this guest that's on the boat who he gets super drunk with is like this Russian hyper-capitalist.
Socialism works only in heaven where they don't need it, and in hell where they already have it.
That's pretty good, yeah.
And they are having this conversation blacked out into the ship's like loudspeaker. So all the guests are hearing their conversation, and it is the most endearing, hilarious. Like the performances are so good, and he's like he's like reading from his diary, but his diary's like, I cannot believe that I had to come to the conclusion that my own government had slaughtered JFK, and it was just like going through all this like I started crying because I thought it was so like funny and brilliant and sad and awesome, and I just think that movie is great. I could rant incoherently about it for a long time.
You've been doing good so far.
Triangle of Sadness.
Triangle of Sadness.
I'm so happy to see it being celebrated by the Academy because it's not perfect, but it's really,
people are into it.
It's really good.
My number 2 film was, we almost shared something together. My number 2 film is Top Gun Maverick.
You're gonna say Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness.
Yes,
It
yes.
is breathtaking. That CGI work, just
nice.
fucking bellissima. No, Top Gun Maverick. I just watched it.
For the first time?
Just in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got to it.
Yeah.
I wanted to watch it because I tried to watch as many Best Picture nominees as I could.
Smart man.
And that was one I've wanted to watch since it came out. Oh my Lord. Now we're ready. And I mean, maybe we'll get more into it for our Oscar conversation, but it was just perfectly executed. It is the perfect mass audience film.
Yes.
It has everything for everybody in just the right way. And it's so hard to do it because you see all of these films failing to do it. Marvel's tried to do it every time out, and it sucks. Black Adam tried to do it.
Take a note.
It sucks.
Take notes.
Like this. So I know it's difficult to do, but this film made it even seem easy. Like it looked gorgeous, competently directed.
Practical.
I know. I mean, it's a film.
It's a movie, baby.
There's so many good things to say about it. The best way I can describe it is it's so competent. It's so good. It's not great, but it's so good at everything. It makes it great, if that makes sense. Like it's just so solid across the board. It doesn't really miss anything.
No.
And you just go, oh great, then just do this.
It's a great
all the fucking time.
Exactly.
Like why can't you just do this? Because it's not revelatory. Yeah. It's basically Top Gun 1. Like it's basically just, if you think about it, all the beats are really
That's what
the
we
same.
say. Old movies, the worst of the old movies would be Best Picture nominees.
And it is. And
Literally.
it is. Like
Literally.
just I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to get too. It's just really solid across the board.
Yeah. It's like, you don't want to say, like, I don't want to take anything away from Top Gun Maverick, but like the bar is so low that you just make a movie that's shot mostly on location in real sets.
But it's
with,
really
like,
well shot. It's not
totally,
just...
no, it's beautifully shot.
You're underrunning
but like the first Top Gun is beautifully shot,
Also true.
gorgeously shot. And do you think that movie would have ever been nominated for Best Cinematography in 1986?
No.
Like, fuck no. It's a stupid summer blockbuster. But stupid summer blockbusters used to be shot with the same amount of attention as any other film, and they weren't all shot on fucking blue screens. Like, it's crazy how powerful that can be, and I can only hope that some movies, Marvel or etc., like will take that and be like, oh, so like that's what works. Like you want a fucking Best Picture? Like if I told you 10 years ago that like, oh, all the future of big summer movies are gonna be IP from the past, they're gonna be reboots and remakes and weird sequels that no one asked for, and they're all gonna be shitty, but one of them's gonna be nominated for Best Picture, would you have thought it'd be Top Gun?
No.
The Top Gun sequel is maybe in the top 3, 4 favorites.
But I think there's no way it's winning.
No, there's no way.
No way it's winning. But the only reason, not the only reason. I think this film gets rewarded for how difficult it was to make.
I don't know.
I think they care about that. There's twofold why it gets nominated. The more important one is because it was the biggest.
It's because you leave the theater from that movie and you're walking on fucking air. The way that no movie has made you do for 20 years. Even if you don't give a shit. It's like I talked about the first Top Gun.
Yeah.
You don't have to care about jets. You don't have to care about Tom Cruise. The dude's got a sketchy past. Like, you don't have to care about any of that shit. But just the movie, the craft of the film, all these check boxes makes you feel like, fuck, man, this is the power of cinema. This is the power of like even mindless cinema.
Yeah. We'll talk.
Do that.
We'll dig more into it, but it is.
Do that.
It's great.
It's phenomenal.
It's great.
It's a phenomenal movie. It's great. My favorite movie of the year.
Your favorite movie?
You should watch it.
I won't.
The Banshees of Inisherin.
I saw it.
You did?
Today.
Today?
I watched it today.
Hey, good work.
That is your favorite, or you think the best, your favorite? Qualify it. It's your favorite movie.
It's my favorite, and I think it's amongst the 2 or 3 best.
There's a lot to discuss. There's a lot to discuss.
Yeah.
Is now the time to discuss?
I mean, if you have a Cliff Notes version of what to discuss.
I think that I'll try, I'm long-winded. You know. Don't
worry about that one.
You're all up in this shot. I'm barely in this one. There you go. Here we go. My trying Cliff Notes of it is, I think the funniest beat in film is in this movie. The thing I laughed the hardest at in the entire year is in this movie. I think it's really funny. Cinematography, outstanding. Direction, really, really good.
Acting.
You know who the best actor is in that movie?
Keoghan.
Yes.
Yes.
By far. Like
Yeah,
I'm almost. It's like he outshines everyone.
He's phenomenal.
He is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Great. I couldn't say enough about it.
Yeah.
All of the craft elements, for the most part, that's what I'm saying, are fantastic, are really, really strong. The film is like watching paint dry. The film is watching paint dry, and when you watch the paint dry, you go, wow, those colors are so beautiful as they dry. But it's not an enjoyable
No, it's not remotely true.
film.
I loved it. I was so enjoyed.
Of course you loved it.
I was full of enjoyment.
But the story is
It's not
so...
your type of movie, and I don't mean that in like a...
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Which is fine.
No.
It's not my type of movie.
No, it's not your type, but it's like, it is, it's very smart, it's very intelligent.
It's got a huge penis. It's nothing that you have, Keith.
It's not a lot in common that you have.
Yeah.
No, it's a slow burn, but it's meticulous, and it's hilarious, and to me very heartwarming, and it's so well written, and it's just weird enough. It's just a beautiful picture of a time and a place and a people. Like it's just like, that's what it is. I'm not like, a lot of people probably won't like it because there's not explosions. There's not Tom Cruise in a jet plane, you piece of shit.
Just how great it was. No, it's boring. It's boring for most of the film. It is boring, but there's if you just enjoy It's like watching a sunset. It's like watching a sunset.
If you've never read a book, this movie is probably kind of boring.
Which I haven't. I'm not a book reader, guys. I'm not a book reader. But yeah, it's if you watch a sunset for an hour and a half, like you're not enthralled.
Like a film doesn't have to be like doing stuff. And I know you're not saying like there needs to be explosions. I know. But you know what I mean? Like it's not boring if you're saying like almost all, if not all, the performances are great and the scenery is beautiful and the cinematography is top shelf. And you didn't say this, but I would say like the writing is really good and it's like kind of like really funny in some parts. And there's other parts that are really touching. Barry asking that woman if she'd ever be interested in him. Like that scene. Oh my God.
Yeah.
There goes that dream.
So yes, is it the most exciting film or, no?
Yeah, the story, that's my point. The story itself, what actually happens, to me is the weakest part of the film. That's for me, and this is my personal taste, like that's always the most important.
For sure.
So,
You're very story oriented.
So it's hard for me to be
I
like,
would say that
I love this
film is not, the story is not the
important at all.
The focal point.
Yeah,
for sure. It's like just a tapestry to like watch the rest of it. So not your cup of tea.
Yeah, it's not. But I can recognize how great. There's a lot of great. I laughed for 10 minutes after when the priest is going, "You're fucked."
You will be pure fucked.
Yes, you will be pure fucked.
That's the funniest thing I've seen all year.
Yeah,
That's the funniest.
It was a lot of funny shit.
It made me laugh. So just this little, "You're fucked." It's so funny.
It's very
I'll
good.
laugh about it forever.
Yeah. It's very good.
It's so fucking funny.
Funny movie.
So great.
All
That's
right.
great. A lot of great bits. But it's like little great bit, 15 minutes. Great bit, little 15 minutes.
Whatever.
Yeah,
All right,
like,
give me your best. I'm gonna tear this movie apart.
I know. I don't think you're gonna like it. But the best movie that I saw all year was Nope. Nope was the best movie that I
That's
saw.
interesting.
I really, really, really enjoyed it. Much like Top Gun. Like it was just fucking clean. Like it just executed really well. I thought the cinematography was great. I thought the direction was very strong, very competent. Performances were solid. Like the story wasn't revelatory. It just doesn't do anything stupid. The third act doesn't get too crazy. But it's an alien movie, so it does like get a little, but that's kind of the nature of it in general. Like, but it all makes sense. It all there was nothing that seemed out of place. There was nothing to me, unless but no, I can see your face and you're trying to make me look like an idiot in front of everybody.
I'm just trying to throw you off a little bit so you start stammering.
I know. I hate this movie. I think Jordan Peele is a really good writer-director. I all three of his films I really enjoy. Some, differently.
Us is not great.
Us is the third of the
not
films.
a great movie, yes.
But even that one, I like a lot of the things that he's doing. I just think he's really detail-oriented. Details mean a lot to him, and they mean a lot to me. So I appreciate the effort in the way that he tells stories and the effort that he puts into the details mattering. Because if you could probably watch that movie again, or his movies in general, but we'll talk about Nope specifically. You'll watch it again and then things will make more sense the more you watch it.
For sure.
Because of that. Black Adam, you're just like, no, this is stupid. Like nothing means anything. Glass Onion, nothing means anything. The whole point is for it to be stupid. You don't get it. No, you don't get it. Shut up.
He's been reading his TikTok comments.
Oh God, it's just like the result is it's bad. You can't it doesn't make it clever just by saying we said it was bad.
You don't
so
get it.
it's bad.
You don't
get it.
You don't get it.
Shut up. But Jordan Peele is excellent, and I just think I thought the movie was great. I really, really, I enjoyed it the most out of any movie I saw this year.
Yeah. I'd like to rewatch it. I watched it once and I liked it. Like I didn't, I have really high expectations for a Jordan Peele movie. Even though I didn't really like Us, like I kind of really didn't like Us. But I obviously, like most other people, thought Get Out was pretty phenomenal.
And I think Shut Out from the Oscars. No
wins.
No love. No, the Nope.
Oh no! Yeah.
Has strangely
absent.
I thought the cinematography. Maybe we can get into it, but I'd like some representation.
Yeah.
The performances were great. The direction is great.
Kaluuya is
the
always
writing is
awesome.
great. Like everything is great in this, like good to great in this, but there's no weak link in my opinion.
It's strange that Nope is not.
And that's to get
recognized at
nothing.
all. That's strange.
It's disappointing.
Very strange.
It's not cool.
For sure. I need to see Nope again because I can't speak specifically to my complaints, but I remember feeling like it did get a little wonky at the very end, like got a little muddled, like the stakes, where it was like, oh, the spaceship can do this now, it's doing this. Like, I don't remember the specifics, but I just remember feeling like in that final climactic scene, I was like, oh, okay, I don't like.
It turned into like a hot air balloon that didn't really make sense. Like it just like unfolded into something.
There was some shit happening.
Where I was like, I didn't know they could do that.
Yeah, why? What?
But it's a fucking alien.
No, I know, but like just because it can doesn't mean like it's motivated by the story or in my understanding of it.
I would agree, but everything else seems pretty tight. So
and the only other complaint, the minor complaint, that was my big complaint, was like, that movie was really good, really entertaining, really enthralling for most of it, and then the third act gets a little like, not everything is line, like their actions aren't super motivated. Like I don't know if he does something like, I don't know if he like sacrifices himself or he's gonna go do something and like it's just one of them knows all of a sudden how to do something. Or you're like, how do you know? Like it just gets a little muddy. I don't remember the specifics.
I think you need to watch it again because I think everything that does happen in that final thing is motivated. Like they figure it out. Like I think you can't make you. If you don't look at it, it doesn't attack you to some degree. Like there's something like if you make eye contact with it. But I think they find it out.
I don't know.
Kind of over the. You should watch it again. It does. It really does.
I'll watch it again. I mean, I did like it overall. It's on my mid list towards the top, like the Batman. Like I thought that was like a pretty good movie. I also didn't like that they had a CGI monkey. Like I thought.
Well, because they were never gonna. Yeah.
You can train a chimp to do literally anything.
But I think they didn't. I think because it was the chimp. Because of the nature of the chimp killing people.
Sure. So like the part where it kills somebody, you use a computer.
Okay.
But like he's sniffing around a bloody shoe and stuff. Like that whole intro scene, like that was like I'm not trying to dwell, but like that took me out of it in the first 5 minutes because it opens with this like bloody scenario and it's just super CGI monkey sniffing around. And so you can get a real monkey for that. And like I'm broken record, but like
you're nitpicking a little bit here.
I know it is a little nitpicky, but it's also like
it's a little nitpicky.
It's a clearly like
because they're in the real places. Like everything else is
the first 4 minutes of your movie are just a CGI monkey crawling around, not interacting with anybody. Get a real monkey. Like it's not that fucking weird. It's not that hard.
The nature of that monkey is to murder people.
Sure, great. So they're
not going to
get
a
the
real
3-second sequence where it's murdering somebody. Get a CGI.
It's
a great year for movies.